So, guys, today we are going to be having some real talks, and this is about the whole AI thing and what it means for us as software engineers, right? A few days ago, Cognito Labs announced our dear Devin, right? So, and this is the first AI tool that is a software engineer. So, according to them in their tweets, they said, today we're excited to introduce Devin, the first AI software engineer. Alright. I do not want to cry yet. I don't. So let's just proceed. So we are still really digesting the fact that a few weeks ago OpenAI announced Sora, and Sora can make realistic videos, right? I feel attacked all around because I'm a software engineer and I make videos. And these guys, should I call it guys or tools, are here for it. So I know you're probably saying they are not so good, but believe me, with time they will. And they are going to do that so quickly because considering the way they've been moving, I know some things in our normal software engineering life took really years to get to where they are now, but within few months, things are just getting released back to back and calls for alarm, and it really gets me scared. If it doesn't get you scared, it does get me scared. So today we're just going to be talking about a few things. So the first would be that we can actually ignore the fact that these things are here. And according to one of my favorite quotes by Steve Jobs, who said, glorify or vilify them, but one thing you can't do is ignore them, right? So we can actually ignore the fact that AI has come and it's going to change a whole lot of things. And it's going to replace a whole lot of things, right? So that's one. The next thing is what does this mean for us? Where, as developers, where do we go from here? And also, how would this affect the companies that we are working for or we are going to work with? What does it mean for us as developers? And how does it also affect the companies that we are going to be working with? And another one is what does this mean for newbies? Because there are definitely some persons that are aspiring to get into tech, maybe this year, maybe today, right? What does this mean for them? Should they continue? Does it still worth it pursuing a career in software engineering? Or should they consider some other thing? Should they consider probably, I don't know, singing, dancing, maybe some other thing, right? So we're just going to be diving deep into all these things that I mentioned, and I'm going to be sharing my thoughts. And most definitely, I would love to know your thoughts on these things too. So feel free to drop your one thoughts in the comments, and I'll be sure to read them and reply if I have to. Okay, so we can't actually ignore these things because I know some persons will be like, okay, these things are not even so good yet. They are not good at this, they're not good at that. But what we fail to really understand is that what we fail to really picture, what we fail to really see is that these guys are in their version 1 point, some at version 2, and they're really doing this. So think of all the popular applications that you use. Some of them are at version 10, version 14 points, and this is what they could do. This is what they can do. So just picture it. Think of what AI can do in their version 10. Version 5, let me even say version 5, right? They will be much more better. So if you could go through a blog that was released by these guys, Cognition Labs, you could see what this AI tools can do, right? They say Devin can learn how to use unfamiliar technologies, right? So that means that they can learn programming language quite faster and they can build and deploy apps end to end. Like, okay. And Devin can automatically find bugs in the code base, right? These are things that we do as software engineers and we get paid for doing them. And now AI could just comfortably do it. Hmm. Really scary. Really, really scary. Then it can fine tune its own AI models. That means it can work on its own at some point. Okay. Devin can address bugs and feature requests in open. Like, the list just keeps going on and on. These are things that not even newbies do. These are things that mid-level and senior developers do, and now Devin can just do it. So, and even the most heartbreaking one for me, we even tried giving Devin real job on Upwork, and it could do that. Like, come on, guys. Okay, so even if you choose to do your freelancing in peace and you do not want to take like a full-time role, it's also coming for you because Upwork and definitely Fiverr and the rest. If it can try on Upwork, then it can definitely try on Fiverr. So yeah, that's really heartbreaking, and I do not want to cry yet. I'm not gonna cry, right? So where do we go from here as developers? Like, it really does mean that a whole lot of jobs will be replaced. I mean, not every job as software developers, not all the jobs, right? But definitely a whole lot of jobs will be replaced because from what I just listed out, you could see that these are actual roles that people play on a day-to-day basis as software engineers, and Devin is here to do them, right? So it really just means that it would definitely reduce the number of newbies that would be employed, definitely. Because if I'm to say, okay, fine, it's not going to replace every job, but it's going to replace some. Think of it this way, coming from the company perspectives, right? So if they could have Devin do some of these jobs they employ some developers for, so they could actually decide to reduce the number of persons they employ and then get Devin to do some of these jobs and then retain some developers that they trust to monitor what Devin does, right? So I know when it comes to people to be retained, it's definitely not junior developers because they are the least persons to trust based on experience. So they are more likely to retain senior developers that would look over what Devin would do, whether it's deploying something or it's debugging a code or something. It's actually the ones with the highest experience that would be employed for this role, right? So it really does mean that it's going to reduce the number of persons that will be employed as software engineers, right? So where do we go from here? So I just basically think that as software engineers, we shouldn't be ignoring these things. If this is your wake up call, you have to really get yourself used to these things because they are here to stay. And you can't keep pointing fingers at what it can do now and ignore the fact that this is just the first release of these things, right? So you really need to get yourself. I mean, prompt engineering is a thing now because it's still human beings that will prompt this AI to develop a software, do this, do that. So you really need to also learn prompt engineering is a thing now. So and aside that, you also need to not just get yourself acquainted to just one thing now because if you're a front-end developer, then you should have some knowledge of back-end development and even beyond, right? You should have knowledge of deployments. Basically, you should be familiar with more things than you do, so that I think that should increase your chances of landing a role when things really come hard on us, because I believe that it's not going to take quite long with the way things are really moving fast with this AI things. So it's not really going to take that far, maybe a year or less. Like, yeah. So you really want to not just learn things on the peripheral layers or just. Another thing again is that you also need to know the fundamentals of whatever you're learning very well, because if you are going to be looking over this AI tools, then you should really be vast on what it is you want to look over it for, right? So you should know your fundamentals very well, because you should even know when the AI is making mistakes, because if you're relying on it to give you code and then you can't tell when it gives you something that it's not what you want, so it's going to be a problem. So you really want to know your fundamentals very well, so that yeah, these AI tools make us productive, it makes us work faster, but they do make mistakes. Yeah, being able to detect when mistakes are made by these tools is an edge. So, but if it depends solely on it to give you everything you want, then that's going to be a problem, right? So as newbies, does it still worth it to pursue a career as software engineers? I would say yes, because at the end of the day, there has to be someone behind manning all these tools. At least there has to be someone that is issuing the prompts, right? So know your fundamentals very well, so that you would even be able to know when things are right or wrong, right? When it gives you something you don't want, you'll be able to correct it and know what to do, right? So these are what I think. So but it's not really bad considering other fields at this point, because yeah, definitely job opportunities in this field will reduce, and as we progress, definitely there'll be more job opportunities to find out with this AI tools, because we are all in this moving train. And the one thing you want to do is to get yourself familiar with these things and not ignore them. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section, and I'll be there soon. Bye.